Yowza, bowza, wowza, holy cowza, what's happening nowza? Hello everyone, Brian Zane here with the Smackdown review live for October the 2nd, 2020. It is the first Smackdown of the month of October, and as always, am Brian Zane, your unconfirmed, uncrowned, unauthorized WCW Hardcore Champion of Wrestling with Regret. And we're going to have a good time. Are you ready for a good time? Like AC/DC would say, because we're going to have a good time. I've got my virgin drink here, my Dr. Pepper. Last week, I think I got demonetized for the mere mention of what I was drinking, so I'm not going to even bring it up. That nasty liquid's not even coming to the conversation this time. Sip of cream soda for the working man. We are here to talk about SmackDown tonight. First show after Clash of Champions, and I think it's safe to say that SmackDown really carried its weight for that pay-per-view. The only thing anyone talks about is from the beginning and the end. The ladder match of the Roman Reigns, Jey Uso stuff. Raw, it contributed nothing to that. Also, I wanted to do a quick little thank you to those who have been donating in droves to my fundraiser I just announced this afternoon, where for the month of October, I'm taking votes as to what wrestler facial hair you want to see me change this to next month. And so far, we've already raised about $2,000 last time I looked at it before going live here. So thank you all so much for that, and I'm going to match it up to $1,000. I already hit my the most I thought I was going to be contributing in mere hours, which is amazing. We still have a whole month to go. So if you haven't checked it out, the link's it's in the description, brightsiders.com/wrestlingwithregret. So with that out of the way, now we will talk about the show. Beginning with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman having some time. I used to call it Brocky Brock time when it was Lesnar and Heyman. I can't do that. Now, Romy Rome time? I don't know. I don't know what we'd call that. So anyway, it's Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman time, and they're here to officially declare Roman as the tribal chief of the universe. Roman cuts off Heyman, saying he won't be happy, though, until Jey Uso finally calls him the tribal chief, and he calls him out. I should do one little thing real quick here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kill my flow. But anyway, yeah, he calls Jey out, and Jey then emerges. Jey says that they each show their true colors on Sunday. You know, Roman beat his ass, but he did not break his spirit. And Roman's all like, he's like, why do I gotta hurt you, man? You know I love you. I only hurt you because I love you. All he wanted was to help Jey out and give him that payday to provide for his family and everything, but he had to go and be disrespectful. Can you believe the disrespect? And, sorry. So Jey keeps looking at that championship, which prompts Roman to finally say, if you want another shot, fine, we'll do it Hell in a Cell. He hugs Jey, tells him he loves him, but this match will have the highest stakes ever of any match. Like, I know we just went through the big hyperbole of the greatest wrestling match ever earlier this year, but what are they going to do to add to it where it's like the highest stakes ever? Like, is it also the loser must die? Is it going to be ultimate death match? Do they watch my review and say, we're going to have someone die in the ring for fakesies or realsies, depending on what the perspective is? So that's what we've determined, and so Jey accepts it, so we know they're going to have a rematch at some point. What stakes they can have beyond Hell in a Cell and also for the championship, I'm not sure. I don't think they said in that promo it was going to be in the cell, but Michael Cole later in the show seemed to acknowledge it as such. I might have misheard, but I believe that is how the segment ended. I don't think it was ever actually officially acknowledged that it was going to be in Hell in a Cell, but if Cole says it, I'm sure it's fine. Loser must change gender. Yeah, I'm sure you could have a lot of different fun ways you could make it the highest stakes ever. I don't think that would be the highest stake, though. I think death is still the highest stake. Oh, yeah, Adam Pacitti was in the Thunderdome. I was looking out for Adam Pacitti. I saw him tweet that he was going to be part of it. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm rambling here. I need to kind of stay focused here. But as Roman leaves, AJ Styles appears, and he kind of like mocks Jey Uso. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late to the luau, he says. He calls Jey a runt, really antagonizes Jey, gets him under his skin. So Jey attacks. We have an impromptu match here as Styles takes on Uso in singles action. It's a pretty good match here. I'm surprised at how clean as a whistle Jey wins here. It's not like he didn't do anything. I mean, I don't expect him to cheat, but it was just like, it was kind of interesting how it's like one and done. One Uso splash was all it took for Jey to win that. And like, this former world champion, he's kicked out of how many Kinshasas and Pinshasas from Nakamura years ago, and all this great stuff. And he went through the ladder match though, so I guess that's a justification to see how he got beaten so easily. But Jason looks really good here, looking good against one of the top guys in the company. Excuse me. We didn't get a ladder match recap from Clash of Champions. Great match, by the way. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's one of the top 2 highlights of that pay-per-view on Sunday. It's that and the main event. Sami Zayn cuts a promo in the back where he blames each and every one of you for causing him to be the way he is, and he says, he blames the fans for Sami being stripped of the title. No one raised a fuss. I raised a fucking fuss. I'm gonna say that for the record. I raised quite a fuss to Sami getting stripped. He blames the fans for the tournament happening in the first place, for him to have to defend the championship in the ladder match. He throws the other Intercontinental belt into the trash, which I gotta be honest, I was hoping he would just carry both belts around, kind of like Undisputed Champion Chris Jericho style. That would have been pretty entertaining, but one belt's fine. One of those belts is fine, I guess. We'll see him in action in the main event later on, as you saw in the thumbnail. Our next match is John Morrison versus Otis in the never-ending battle between Otis and Miz and Morrison. I mean, God, Otis has beaten those two guys so much on his own, he doesn't need Tucker anymore. Why is he even there? Why is Tucker even on TV? Or why is he even teaming with Otis at this point? Just break him up. If you're going to have Otis be the star, you don't know what you're going to do with the with the Money in the Bank. It's a super quick match. Otis squiggity squashes Morrison, literally and figuratively, with a splash in the corner. He also said in the pre-match promo he will represent himself in his court case with Miz and Morrison for the briefcase. Should be right for hilarity. I mean, again, I've been saying it for weeks. I'm definitely looking forward to like whatever skits they have in the courtroom there. I think Otis and Miz together have good comedic timing on their own, and so together I'm looking forward to seeing what magic might come from that. From one short match to another, Sheamus takes on Shorty G. I'm like, are you serious? He's taking on Shorty G again? Like, how many times has it been this year alone since he came back? It's been just consistently against Shorty G. His first pay-per-view opponent of the year was Shorty G at the Rumble. I'm pretty sure he wrestled a couple times after that too. And not too long ago, on Smackdown, when I think they almost made Sheamus a babyface for 1 week, I believe Shorty G was part of that too. So, 8th verse, same as the first, and so Sheamus wins once again with not one, but 2 bro kicks. Hey, what happened to Shorty G and his angle with King Corbin? Where he was like, oh, he wanted the bounty, oh, he needed money, and so he's to work for Corbin. That lasted maybe 2 weeks, and they just totally dropped it. I mean, it was quite amazing how fast he just showed up and then left. And now he's jobbing again. In that segment, by the way, Big E cuts a promo on social media where he challenges Sheamus to a Falls Count Anywhere match next week. And we find out later that Sheamus accepts it. So next week's SmackDown is going to really stacked, and we'll get to that as we go through this review here. The next segment we see here is the KO show with Alexa Bliss. And wow, they are really blowing one of their brand-to-brand invitational shots for this segment. I mean, SmackDown already has 2 recurring talk show segments, and Kevin Owens' guest here is the host of one of those shows. It's Alexa Bliss, and she shows up, and KO wants to know, hey, what's going on with Alexa Bliss these days? You've changed, man. And she reminds him of Aleister Black these days. Alexa acts like she has no idea what he means, and that people change. People change, Kevin. And KO wants, she describes then what it's like to be around him. All the kind of like, we're not naming names here, but it's the Fiend essentially, and it describes all the creepy ways he terrorizes people and sends chills down spines and whatnot. KO calls her brainwashed, and she says, "Yes, my brain has been washed. I have been washed clean because the Fiend is my new savior." Essentially, she didn't say that, but I'm basically paraphrasing it for her. She says, "Let him in." Yeah, it's a big messianic complex here. It's like almost in a way it's like a kind of a version of the Monday Night Messiah, because like, oh, he is everywhere, and like he has washed me of my sins. Like, oh my gosh, it's become, as I say it out loud, it seems very much like SmackDown's version of Seth Rollins here. So the lights cut out. The Fiend appears, mandible claws KO in the ring, and as Alexa watches, Fiend approaches Alexa, puts his hand out. She takes it. She gives kind of like a knowing look to the camera as we jump cut to break. Cue the fanfic. Oh my god, like that image right there of them holding hands. That's going to be the shot that launched 1,000 music videos on YouTube. Do they still do those? Like, I swear there was a cottage industry for a while on YouTube where people were making like shipping videos of like, here's all these like relationships, and we're gonna put this like sad love song on it, and we're gonna put these like filters on it to make it look really emotional. Like, there's like 8 of them with like having to do with Lita out there as well. If they still do those, I mean, here you go. Here's a lot more content for you guys to churn those out. So I'm really curious. I don't know what they're doing with Alexa and the Fiend, but I like it. You know, is she going to be like his assistant or servant or like mouthpiece? Would be interesting. Like, I don't know. Are they really going to separate from Funhouse Bray? They kind of started 2 very different, like, divergent things after Payback, it feels like, where it's like, here's Funhouse Bray, and oh, here's this like Paul Heyman caricature walrus puppet. And then, oh, here's the Fiend with Alexa Bliss. So what the fuck's Funhouse Bray doing at this point? Like, we saw a glimpse of the Firefly Funhouse logo behind Kevin, like when he was on the monitor. You didn't notice it. So, but I mean, the Funhouse has not been seen, as far as I can tell, since that SmackDown after Payback. So I think it's interesting they kind of like started those 2 things. Like, are they going to merge? Are they meant to be concurrent? Don't really know. The more I kind of like do a deeper dig into this, it makes me wonder, maybe it's not as airtight of a storyline as I was hoping it would be. We find out the next week we are going to have Kevin versus The Fiend in a match. So I guess is that 2 brand-to-brand usages, or are they just going to lump the 2 together? This one doesn't really count because it wasn't a match. I'm not entirely sure. Our next match sees King Corbin Bleu, Cesaro, and Nakamura going against Matt Riddle and the Lucha House Party in 6-man action. Before the match, Riddle communicates in more bros in a pre-match interview, and I'm like, oh my god, I thought they dumbed down RVD's verbiage when he was signed in 2001, where he was, yeah, cool, whatever. Riddle's even less. It's just bro. That's it. Like, they were able to condense what was already a pretty, like, you know, pretty truncated vocabulary for RVD, and they managed to streamline it even more for Matt Riddle. It's amazing in the efficiency they have of doing this. They also mentioned, oh, Kalisto's not here. Maybe he's still putting his mask on because his head's too big or something. As the match begins, Kalisto does show up as we go to break. Not much of this match, really. It's like it's done once you come back from commercial break, essentially, where Kalisto ends up hitting his own partner by mistake when he's trying to help out. But Cesaro is able, or I should say, Riddle is able to capitalize on the distraction. He hits Cesaro with the Bro Derek to win the match, and that's where we see. And then like Kalisto comes in, he's like, "Yay, we did it!" And like he and Riddle are celebrating, they're both happy. And then Lindsay and Grand Metalik are all pissed, and Riddle's got to break him up. I thought that, you know, it's not much of a match, but Riddle gains some momentum back in winning, and this keeps the Lucha House Party story going. I would love to see a storyline in which a team almost breaks up and just doesn't. Like, they get over their differences and they find some kind of common thing that makes them closer together. Like, not every team has to inevitably break up. And we've seen so much of that just this year alone. I feel that, like, there's piling on with the Lucha House Party, I feel. Like, let them find some common ground and come to an understanding without Kalisto being kicked out or whatever the fuck they're going to do with it. Like, I mean, let's have a happy ending at least. That's all I'm asking for. We get the mystery sexy lady revealed. We've seen weeks of vignettes of a faceless woman. Such mystery, such lady. And we find out, to the surprise of almost nobody, it's Carmella. I like how the whole thing with this vignette, it was like, look at these pictures of this mystery lady with her head cut off. Oh, she looked really different. And then, like, you finally see Carmella's face, and nothing's different. Like, her hair is like, okay, it's platinum blonde now. Okay. But nothing here's changed at all. So, I mean, and we saw the hair anyway in the vignettes before this, so whatever surprise they were supposed to get with the reveal, I thought was meh. Oh, and she also does each and every one of you are to blame for this. Why did we get 2 of those in one night? One from Sami Zayn and one from Carmella, which was pre-taped. You could have had her say something else, where she's, I blame you fans for, you know, making me who I was, you know, and I'm dancing around for your pleasure. I'm not going to do that anymore. She's untouchable. She's got an Instagram, like, I'm such an old man. I don't know what those modern Polaroids are called now. Maybe they are Polaroids. I don't know, but I guess that's the hip thing. And so she's untouchable when she wants to be, is what she says. So there you go. You've got Carmella kind of taking on almost kind of an Emelina gimmick is what I got from the vibe there. Yeah, but we'll see. Maybe this one has a little more traction than Emelina. This is what Emelina was meant to be. We get a Sasha Banks promo where she's in the ring. She talks about how Bayley used her all those months, and basically, it was kind of a rehash almost of like what she said in the promo a couple weeks ago when she was backstage. But she says here, she challenges Bayley to a women's championship match next week, and she rips off her neck brace dramatically, and she says that Bayley doesn't stand a chance, bitch, like the emphasis on bitch at the end. So powerful. So that's how that ends. I mean, like, I'm wondering where that's going to go. I mean, we're probably going to have a thing, I would imagine, where it's like, no, Sasha's not ready to go, and Bayley will take advantage of that and probably put her on the shelf for longer, I would imagine. I mean, if they play their cards right, they can keep this going until WrestleMania. So, even though the women's division of SmackDown is kind of lacking at the moment, and the fact they just moved, like, 2 women from SmackDown to Raw before the draft, I don't know what its chances are, but it's... next week I think that could be a good way, kind of like a good way for Bayley to like ride her out for a while, and then Bayley can come back at the Rumble or something. And so that's kind of my little fantasy booking, just off into the distance real quick. Our main event is for the Intercontinental Championship, as Sami Zayn defends against Jeff Hardy. Early on, Jeff avoids like a turnbuckle pad or a turnbuckle that's exposed, and no one knows how it got exposed. No one caught that happening, and also, the pad's not there anymore. And then after the break, we see some footage like during Jeff's intro where Sami actually is the one who does it. So that's some seed planting for later in this matchup here. It's a good match here. It's a great main event. Jeff takes a hell of a bump into the barricade going for poetry in motion. Hardy goes to the swanton at the end, but Sami gets the knees up. Sami misses the haluva kick. Jeff's on the top rope, but Sami trips him. It's the same corner with the exposed turnbuckle, so bam! Goes face first right into it, knocks him out. Sami pins and wins. Ooh, that's sneaky Zayn. That is a damn good payoff for a match right there. It was set up at the very beginning, and they forgot all about it until the very end there. It plays into the finish. Mwah, it was brilliant. I mean, the match itself, like, the pacing was okay. It's Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn. They do good work. But the finish I thought was great and really plays up more to Sami's character and how he is so sneaky now, and he's almost like 2 steps ahead of everybody. And I think it was a really strong main event, all things considered. And so, hang on. Before I give you my grade, soda break. Damn, that's good soda, not H2O. All right, with that is what you see in the lower third there, and my grade is as follows. I give it a C. This was not a terrible show. It wasn't inoffensive. It was inoffensive. It wasn't dumb. There wasn't any of that. But I will say, I think the Roman Reigns and Jey Uso stuff was clearly the strongest part of the show, with like Uso Styles kind of a part of that, because it was just more building up Uso as a contender. The KO show was fine because I liked the stuff with Alexa and the Fiend, and the main event I thought was pretty good. A couple of squash matches. We've seen some matches before where it's just like, matches we've seen before, and not much else to say about it. And I think they were more served, like in the case of Otis and Morrison, and the case of Sheamus and G, it was means to an end. Otis did not have to fight John Morrison this week. He could have fought literally anybody else and squashed him. And like, we're gonna see these guys on screen together pretty soon, like in the courthouse stuff. We did not need Otis to beat Morrison yet again, and we did not need Sheamus to beat Shorty G yet again. Could have been literally anybody else. You have a wide breadth of talent to choose from. Get somebody for the Performance Center. You've done it before. It's not impossible. So that's my grade. I will, before I go into the Q&A portion of this, thank you for watching, by the way. How long did that take? I'm always curious to see what my timing is on this thing. But I think, I'm trying to keep it brief at least. But yeah, we're going to move on to the. I will remind. I'm sorry. It's the sugar. It's the sugar that's. That's good. That's pretty good. Leave Sheamus and SmackDown. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna look at these texts here, these chats, and some super chats. Niall Witherspoon with a $9.99 super chat saying, "Awesome work, Brian. Gonna donate now." Thank you, Niall. That's in reference to the wildfire recovery fundraiser. In case you missed it, brightsiders.com/wrestlingwithwregret, in which I am putting my beard on the line for y'all folks, because you can choose from either the Hulk Hogan, Fu Manchu, the Rick Rude porn stash, the Brian Cage / Lash LaRue chops. Always wanted Lash LaRue chops, so think about that. And also the Jeff Hardy, so I get the stripes and everything. Those are all options. I know a lot of people have been asking about the Triple H Lemmy chops. I'm not going to add that because I don't want to invalidate other people's votes, because I'm sure some people also wanted that. So I'm not going to add that now. But I'm going to put a pin in it. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket for next year because, hey, I can always grow this back. So keep that in mind. Moving on, CJ Poirier. Poirier? I'm going to say Poirier. That's my final answer on that one. CJ Poirier with a $10 super chat. I took French for 3 years growing up. I know some things. If I had to guess who's getting traded in the upcoming draft, Lucha House Party excluding Kalisto, Sheamus, Dana, and Scarlett to Raw. Well, yes, Dana is already there apparently. So Ricochet, Apollo, Mickey, and Grimy, and Grimes to SmackDown. Grimes. Am I stupid? Who am I forgetting with the last name Grimes right now? Why can't I remember who the hell Grimes is? I'm totally hitting a blank on that one. As far as like who I think could go to Raw and Smack, Cameron Grimes. Jesus, I can't believe I fucking forgot that. Oh man. I'm not used to seeing just Grimes by itself. Grimy. Oh man, thank you everyone. The deluge has already begun. I'm not gonna look at that for a minute. As far as who could go, I don't know. It's so random, and it almost historically never serves a purpose. Like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, who has been drafted and switched from one show to the other one, and it immediately works their benefit, and or they get a push, or they get so much better off than they were in the old show. Like Ricochet, for a minute, I feel, was he even drafted? Because I know when he went to Raw the first time, he had that feud with AJ Styles. He had the U.S. Championship, but I forget if he was coming from Smack. I don't think he was. Maybe from NXT or something. But yeah, like, the draft, to me, is so irrelevant. Like I'm not having any expectations as to who's going to be in the draft. I'm just going to go, okay, that happened, and just kind of move on with my day, and we'll see where it goes, I guess. Yeah, with so many people coming from NXT, the potential people come from NXT, you have no idea. I was so shocked that they moved Mercedes Martinez from NXT to Retribution in within 2-3 weeks, maybe. She was on TV, and then she finally had the blow off Rhea Ripley, and then she was gone on Retribution. Couldn't believe it. Someone says Bianca should go to SmackDown. That'd be weird if Bianca, after all the vignettes on Raw, went to SmackDown. I would not. That'd be pretty weak, I would think, to have Raw build her up so much. And psych, she's going to SmackDown. Let's see here. Jack Wivell, $5 Australian. Hopefully, a new Jack, no relation to his name is also Jack, is in the Ultimate Deathmatch sequels. Actually, on second thought, hopefully not, because then they'd be snuff films. I don't know if New Jack's in the other ones. I'd have to look at that. And by the way, thank you for the positive response to Ultimate Deathmatch, the review. I always am proud and happy with, for the most part, with my movie reviews, but I feel that the movie reviews don't get a whole lot of love compared to listicles and profiles on a wrestler and some such. But this one did really well. I'm very happy because it is just that bad of a movie, and there's so many jokes I realized I didn't include. There's one thing I meant to do after the fact where it was there's definitely a lot of syringe-based evil doing in Ultimate Deathmatch. I showed you, there's at least 3 scenes in where a syringe is used. There's the flashback where the dude with the eye patch has one in his eye, and then there's a scene where Paulie Venture is getting checked on after his match. He's bleeding for no reason. Doc's got a syringe in his arm, and then he's got, he puts the syringe in the drink. There's got to be at least one more than that, but I feel that, yeah. That's one thing I thought was a common thread where there's we don't have enough props, quick. The syringe is going to be our catch-all. It's not even a proper... It's not a needle. It's literally a plastic, plunger, essentially. So it looks really professional. And ever since I put the video out, I've been getting a slow drip of information from like my friends and other wrestlers and a couple of extras who've worked some of the UMD shows or UDM shows over in those years. Like they were extras, they were crowd members, they were wrestlers. People tell me these stories of Sean Kane and the movies and stuff, and I cannot wait to, pull some of those out in the future. I don't know when I'm going to be reviewing 2 and 3, but they will be reviewed. Based on the feedback to this one, 2 and 3 will be happening probably sooner than I expected they would. So be able to cover that, and thank you for your response to that. What other Siggity Super Chats do we have here? I'm not seeing them beyond that. I have to scroll back up. Come on, you booger. No, that was the most recent one, actually. Was it? Did I miss? No? Oh, here we go. Mike R, $10 Super Chat. Thanks for reviewing SummerSlam 2002 and WrestleMania 19, per my Patreon pay-per-view requests. Mike Ryan is you. I could tell. God damn, the scroll's all over the place. I apologize. No, stop. Hang on. Here we go. Given Roman's recent heel work, if we had live crowds now, do you think Roman would be booed hard or cheered? That's the paradox, isn't it? There's always been the argument from people, if you turn so-and-so heel, then it'll justify why everyone's booing them. But then, like, oh, if you turn them heel, then we'll think they're cool, so we cheer them. Which I think that was kind of the biggest thing that I had a problem with when, like, everyone wanted John Cena to be heel. I'm like, if John Cena becomes heel again, he's just going to do the same shit that he did that you liked about him when he was a heel, so you're going to cheer for him. They're going to turn him face again. What are you thinking? And so I feel that with Roman, they didn't have that luxury because they've never liked Roman Reigns, really, as long as he's been in that kind of singles position. So would they have cheered him if there were a crowd? I don't know, because it's not like, they're making him a real son of a bitch in these promos and whatnot. Making him real evil so far. So I don't think they would cheer him after what he did to Jey Uso. I think they would still boo him pretty hard. But it's so ironic that we finally have like crowd noise and we've got boos for Roman Reigns, but it's all artificial. Like, no, it's like Twilight Zone shit. This isn't what we asked for. Some cruel monkey's paw shit happening here. So I'm just going back up the main chat to see if I missed any. No, I didn't. Mafia boss Roman, yes. Here we go. Mike Borsum, $5 Super Chat. Have I ever seen Grunt, the wrestling movie from '85? Okay, here's the thing. I've gotten so many requests to do that movie, and I will do it one day, but here's my problem I have with it. It's hard to give it a riffing on the level of like Slammed or Ultimate Deathmatch, because it's actually not a bad movie. It's pretty funny, actually. It's like a satire about wrestling, and I've tried watching it a couple times. I've never made it very far in it, but when I've seen it, I'm like, oh, these jokes actually land. Like, they're good jokes. There's good timing, and I don't mind it. I'm more frustrated trying to come up with jokes about this movie than I was watching the shit movies that it was easy to make jokes about, if that makes any sense. So I do want to do Grunt eventually. I want to try and make it all the way through so I can actually kind of give it a good assessment, and then I can think about riffing on it. But it has always been a plan to do that movie. I just need to find time to watch it and also find a good angle for it. It's not like The Wrestler good, like not Mickey Rourke, The Wrestler good by any stretch, but it's just like, it's got some cheese to it. I get why people want me to review it. So that will happen one day. And then I got another soups from, hold on, Joey AM, $5. Thoughts on the WWE Twitch contract updates? Oh, isn't that the shittiest thing? The worst thing I ever heard? That they want to take a percentage of people's Twitch account money? What a terrible time to be doing that. In a time when everyone's at home and all this free time to be streaming on Twitch, now WWE wants a piece of that, and it's going to go against their downside guarantee. Fuck that. No, thank you. They need to unionize. They need somebody to stand up and say, no, this is bullshit. I would have, honestly, I would have, Xavier walk. I would have him threaten to walk. Same with Paige, even though she's not really doing anything right now. But, I mean, she's still under contract. She's still worth something to them. I cannot believe that. We heard rumblings about this weeks ago, and I think my opinion on it still stands, where it's not, it's like, it flies in the face of the entire independent contractor ethos they have tried so hard to uphold for decades, ever since Papa Hogan, turncoat on Jesse Ventura, who was trying to unionize back in the 80s. They have tried so hard to hold on to that. It becomes so more and more laughably apparent how, like, this does not apply in that regard. They're so not independent contractors. The fact that it's like, and also, yeah, they're going to be required to, like, do Twitch stuff now. That's not something that an independent contractor's told to do. Like, that's not how that works. I can't believe they're even flaunting this idea. It feels very much like a thing where it's like they're being told this thing, and there's going to be all this outrage, and, like, hopefully at the 11th hour they can, like, pull back and say, we weren't really going to do it, or, we'll just, like, make it somewhat more appealing. But right now it seems pretty predatory. It seems pretty lousy that they would do that, and that would cut into the downside guarantee as well. That, I think, is the worst. That's the most shady of all, in my opinion. Yeah, the whole idea of, the fact that Andrew Yang is getting on this, I think, is very fascinating. To have somebody who's so not involved in wrestling finally, like, getting involved with it, I think that speaks volumes. And I think, like, this could be a domino that falls. I'm not saying this is going to be what, like, ultimately kills the independent contractor label, but I think this is definitely a good step in that direction. Because I think that if they're going to be doing that, they better give them benefits. Like, they better, like, have, like, guaranteed deals or something. They have to have something to kind of, like, incentivize them being there if they're going to be taking away their Twitch money. It's just garbage. It's really garbage. Okay. RVD and WWE. That's a good idea for an episode. TNT Hunter, $2 super chat. Alexa and Bray are my favorite thing going so far. I mean, yeah, I would agree. Between that and the stuff with Roman Reigns right now, those are the two top things, that have my attention right now on SmackDown. And so, yeah, I'm curious to see where it all goes between those two storylines. Who's finally going to take down Roman Reigns? The whole tribal chief thing. Some people have been kind of like fantasy booking The Rock, and I said even last week, that's a great idea, but don't waste that on the Thunderdome. You better put that in front of a live paying audience who will pay top dollar to see that shit in person. CJ Poirier asks for the $5 super chat. I've been reminiscing on Defiant Wrestling recently. So, excuse me. He asks if I could bring a promotion back, what would I revive? Ooh. Off the top of my head, I'd say Lucha Underground, I think, should get another go. I think they had a really good thing going and a good aesthetic, and they had a good product that was really different from everything else that was going on at the time. And also has really inspired a lot of what we see today in our modern day wrestlings. So, yeah, I could definitely see, I would like, if I had a magic wand, I would say Lucha Underground comes back. Or maybe, like, why not bring back Wrestling Society X? Or something wild like that, Like, have something with, like, that kind of, beat Raw Underground at their own game, essentially. And just bring back Wrestling Society X and have the crazy flips. Don't put it on a network that's so stifling in terms of what it can show. Like, if you go way back and listen to, like, Kevin Kleinrock interviews from many years ago, he talks about how, like, MTV said nobody could punch or kick anyone. And so that's why the matches were so heavily chopped up and edited, and why it was all high spot, was because everything else they have, like, to transition to other moves had to be cut out for TV. So, I mean, other people are kind of saying the more historic ones, like ECW and WCW. Yeah, I guess. Like, I mean, obviously they have their place, and I would love to have seen ECW Horror Fan for Life. I don't know why you're spamming my shit with challenges and stuff, but I'm going to put you in the P corner, put you in timeout. But I think that, yeah, I think of the two historic companies, like, of WCW, ECW, I'd say ECW should come back. I think that, like, if they had, it's kind of the XWF excuse. If they had more time and more money, I think it could have been a different scenario. Also, I think if the network, if TNN were more accepting of them and didn't dick them around so much with time slots, then it would have been a better result. It's like I said in Ultimate Deathmatch. If they were pulling 4s and 5s, the last 20 years would be very different. I don't think ECW would have gone under, at least not when it did. It would have been a very different landscape. ROH may not have existed if ECW didn't go under. Herb Abrams, UWF. There's been rumors for a long time that Herb Abrams' son, Herb Abrams Jr., is going to bring back the UWF. We'll see. I'll believe when I see it. I've been seeing rumblings for a good couple years now. So I would welcome a UWF return, if I'm being perfectly honest. Bring back USWA. Do I like the Misfits? I don't think I really heard much of their stuff. Sadly, I don't know. I have not heard much of their stuff at all. My most exposure to the Misfits is their time in WCW. So I have no other frame of reference about the Misfits. And Zandig was part of it too, right? Dark Side of the Ring, Herb Abrams. That was an amazing episode of Dark Side of the Ring. If you haven't seen that one yet, the Herb Abrams one, I think it's a good companion piece to what I did with UWF years ago, my review. Because my review covered mostly just the promotion, a little bit of Herb stuff, and then like the other one, the Dark Side, was more on Herb Abrams. And so, Danzig. I get Danzig and Zandig confused all the time. I don't know why. Let's see here. Let's talk for a minute. Let's plug my PJ Black interview before I wrap this up. I dropped that earlier today with ROH star PJ Black, formerly Justin Gabriel. He was part of the Nexus and the Core. And now he's been, he also worked with Lucha Underground, Impact, and now he's in Ring of Honor. He's been there since 2018. And he's doing some great work. He's part of the Pure Tournament starting this weekend, so check that out. Also on ROH TV. This interview with PJ I did was probably one of my favorites I've done with my crop of like ROH guys that I've been doing the last few months. He talks a lot about his love of extreme sports and how it's not just like a need for an adrenaline fix for him. He talks about growing up in South Africa with a promoter / wrestler as a father and the plans they had about his career before his father died when PJ was very young. Talking about like his job, now he is promoting in South Africa. There's a lot of really cool stuff. He talks about the Nexus and like kind of talks a bit about SummerSlam 2010. So check that stuff out as well. That's probably one of my favorite interviews I've done in a while. So please check that out. Also, this is one more thing I'm going to do before I wrap this up. Let me drop this graphic real quick because I want to show you my next t-shirt design exclusively for the month of October. I give you... That's not what I was supposed to be. Whoops. Come on. There. God damn it. The Gargoyle. That's what it was. Live TV, folks. This is the Gargoyle shirt design. This was designed by my editor, Izzy, and she did a great job here. This is here. To give you a frame of reference, this is going to be on a black surface, so... Oh, fuck, what do I do here? Here. There. Just imagine this is a black t-shirt. You'll have a better idea of it. You've got here, it's a gargoyle with a luchador mask on a tombstone. Now I gotta do this, goddammit. This is needlessly complicated. So it's a gargoyle on top of a tombstone with a flaming barbed wire kendo stick. You see some bloody brass knuckles and some boots, and there's the moon above it. And if you can't read it, the tombstone reads, "Here lies the wrestling business. It was killed by mystery." We don't know. It's whatever you make it is what killed the wrestling business. So because it's a very spooky design, that is going to be available right now. Well, technically it's available now on the Pro Wrestling Tees store. I goofed though when I was setting the price, so it's not the price I want it to be. If you want to buy it at the price that it is right now, go for it. I won't stop you. But hopefully by tomorrow it should be amended to its proper price. And so then go buy it. But yeah, this is a special edition design just for the month of Halloween, for October. It's a very spooky design. And I'm on fire. Oh no, I'm on fire. Excuse me. So yes, please check that out. That's at prowrestlingtees.com/wrestlingwithregret. The new gargoyle design. And hope you like it. It will be available just for this month, and then it will be gone forever. I saw some super chats drop as I was struggling mightily with that. Bob Dobbs, great name, $5 super chat. COVID did a leg drop on Trump. I'm not going to say anything about it. I mean, hope he recovers. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. My mother died from COVID. It sucks. But yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything about it. Not saying nothing. Tyler Joseph Smith, $4.99 super chat. Does Fiend wrestling on free TV make him not special? Could we have a live sex celebration with the Fiend and Alexa? She wants to let him in literally. Ooh, that's so tawdry. Let's see here. Does him wrestling on free TV not make him special? I get why you would say that, because I mean he has exclusively wrestled on pay-per-view up to this point. I don't think so. I mean, SmackDown's looking at a pretty stacked show next week. You've got The Fiend on SmackDown wrestling for the first time. You've got the Falls Count Anywhere match with Sheamus and Big E. You've got the women's title match with Bayley and Sasha, which may not be a big old match, but at least it will be good storytelling. So I think SmackDown's looking pretty good here. I think The Fiend is going to add to that. So yeah, I'm not against it. I mean, don't make it a regular thing, obviously. And I would love to find out what the relationship is, where it's like, what's going on with The Fiend and Funhouse Bray, and what that entails, like why we see one and not the other. But hopefully, I hope they don't overdo it. But a live sex celebration, that would be a little interesting. That'd be a little different, I would say here. See, I got a couple minutes before I wrap this thing up, but it's been lots of fun so far, y'all. I plugged the PJ Black interview. I plugged the Gargoyle shirt. Check that out. It's up now. I don't think they've updated the price yet. I asked them to do that like this evening, so it might still be $21. But then it could be $19.99 by tomorrow morning, and then you can get it for $1 less. Wouldn't you feel special? It's weird. Like, Pro Wrestling Tees, like, it's a good service for me, but like I do think it's kind of annoying how much money they take from the people. God forbid you put stuff on a black T-shirt. That's why I have so many options of multiple colors on my shirt store, because there are some. I think we need a splash of color more in our wrestling shirt collections. Not every wrestling shirt has to be black, which is why I have so many different colors in my shirts. And also, they're technically cheaper to produce. It's less ink, or it's less printing on the shirt, so Pro Wrestling Tees takes a smaller chunk of the money. So, and like, if I wanted the design to be bigger than it is on the Gargoyle shirt, then they would have charged another $2. Then it says, raise your price up $2, but I didn't really want to do that. First Love Smokers and Barbecue, $5 super chat. Storyline. Ooh, the Fiend likes Bliss, but Funhouse Bray hates her. That would be interesting. It's one way of looking at it. I don't think, because like we saw Funhouse Bray refer to Alexa before when talking to Braun, so maybe there's kind of like a jealousy thing there. I don't know. That's curious. That's curious. Yes, the Trogdor shirt. Thank you for pointing that out, Joey. A friend of mine got this for me. It's Trogdor's Gym. I'm pretty sure this is not an official Homestar Runner shirt. A friend of mine got this for me after my daughter weirdly harassed him into buying it for me. It was really weird. I did not advocate for this, but she's like, you should buy this shirt for my dad. He goes, okay, because he's a very generous guy. It's Chris, by the way, who plays the Know-It-All fan here on the channel occasionally. So, yeah. I'm going to wrap it up there. Ending it with the hypothetical of two different Brays liking and disliking Alexa. You can't get much stranger than that. But yes, do check out the PJ Black interview if you've not seen it yet. Do check out the fundraiser I'm doing, brightsiders.com/wrestlingwithregret. Vote on which facial hair you want to see me rock for 1 week in November. And the reason it's only 1 week is because the most my wife would allow me to wear to sport before she threatens to leave me. And she told me to tell you that she said that. So, JRC, $2 super chat. No comment, but thank you, JRC. Appreciate that. So check out Ultimate Deathmatch. Check out the PJ Black interview. And next week, we are going back to the classic reviews. It's going to be Halloween Havoc 95. And I'm sure some of you might be asking, Brian, haven't you already covered Halloween Havoc 95? Close. I reviewed a couple things related to Halloween Havoc 95, but never the actual show itself. But you will see me talk about that in its entirety next Wednesday. And, God, I guess this Sunday is TakeOver, isn't it? So, yeah, I'll be doing a TakeOver review as well. There's too many shows. God almighty. But thank you all so much for coming in, folks. Thanks for watching the show. And always know, the influencer loves you. I'm Brian Zane.